Another type of verbal reasoning that we come across frequently is where we've got a sentence with a hidden word in it. Now, it will tell you if you're looking for a 3-letter word or a 4-letter word. Here, I'm looking for a 4-letter word that can be found by combining the end of one word with the beginning of the next word. Now, sometimes it will say it can go across 2 or more consecutive words. So in that instance, there would be a possibility that it could go across 3 words. But here I know I'm only looking across 2 words. And I know I need a 4-letter word. It has to be a proper word. It won't be a name. And it has to be spelt correctly. And the strategy I teach the children for that is that I only want 4 letters. So I'm going to use my fingers here to make 4 letters. So I'm going 3 from here and 1 from here. And I've got in a, not a word. So then I'm going to try 2 and 2, nice, not a word. 1 and 3, asp, not a word. So then 2 and 2, because there's only 2 for me to use there, ispla, not a word. 1 and 3, spla, not a word. So then I can go on to my next word here. 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, not a word. And 1 and 3, not a word. So I can move on again. 3 and 1, not a word. Now it's only going across 2, so I'm going to move on again. 1 and 3, not a word. So I can move on to here. 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, not a word. 1 and 3, not a word. So I'm on to this one here now. I'm at the end of this word and the beginning of this one. 1 and 3, not a word. 2 and 2, here I have my word, dare. So I underline it and then I write it on the line. I quite often like to write it underneath as well, because then I'm absolutely sure when I'm looking back and I'm checking and transferring my answer onto the answer grid that we learn how to use nearer the time, that I've got the correct word that I want. Now that strategy might seem quite time consuming, but it actually works and it gets the word every time. When I'm working through these at home, because I always do, quite often I try and just look at them and have a little bit of a panic and can't see them. And then I have to say to myself, Nick, calm down, use your own strategy. And when I do that, it works every single time. And they will get quick at using that strategy and it won't take as long as that. So again, next example, let's go again. So I'm going 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, not a word. 1 and 3, not a word. So I move on then. 3 and 1, no, no, not a word. So this is obviously a long word, so I'm moving on now. 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, no. 1 and 3, no. So now I'm here and I'm going 3 and 1, no. 2 and 2, no. But 1 and 3, I've got my word there, I've got dove. So I'm going to underline it, I'm going to write it underneath, and then I'm going to also write it on the line. Now, in the actual test, there would very likely be multiple choice, and you would be circling your answer, but I would still want the children to underline it and write it underneath. So same strategy again now. So I know I want 4 letters, so I'm going 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, not a word. 1 and 3, and I've got my word there already right at the beginning, which is mass. And then I'm going to write it on the line. And then on to the last one. Again, exactly the same strategy. I've got 3 and 1, not a word. 2 and 2, no. 1 and 3, doesn't work either. So I move on again. And I'm going 3 and 1, no. 2 and 2, no. 1 and 3, no. So I'm moving on again. 3 and 1, doesn't work. 2 and 2. There's my word there, myth. So I underline it, write the word underneath, and I write it on the line. Now, this is a type that really, the strategy is really important. We find children in the tests, the mock tests that they do with us. This is one where they make mistakes if they don't use the strategy. If they use the strategy, they find them and they get them right. If they don't use the strategy, this is an area where we find they lose marks, and we don't want them to do that.